Take a listen.
We made a bail appeal to Judge Carter. He did not go our way. I told Mr. Combs I'm going to try and get his case to trial as quickly as possible. I understand that the government has a great amount of electronic devices that they have to download and provide to me, but everything's on the government's timetable.
All right, so two really key things. One, Judge Carter. So the judge on yesterday, or the Tuesday, that was like a preliminary judge. Not to say that she wasn't important, but that wasn't the judge that presiding over the case. So she first denied bail. The reason why he was able, Diddy's lawyers were able to go yesterday to Judge Carter is because Judge Carter is the judge that will be residing over the entire case. Why this is really important is that this is the judge who's gonna to judge the entire case. If he says no, that means that evidence is airtight. That already means that the judge don't like you. That's basically what I'm trying to get at. That judge is like, nah, you can't go on bail. You think that judge is going to be lenient throughout the trial? So the judge is already telling us indirectly, yo, I don't like you. I don't like what you did. This evidence is scaring me. I think you're a danger. I'm not even letting you out on bail. I'm going to tell you guys all of the things that Diddy promised so that he could be let out on bail, on top of the things that I already told you yesterday. Okay, we're going to get to that. Now, here's another important thing in that video that you just heard, is that when his lawyer says, I understand that the government has a lot of devices that they have to download and give to me, and we're on the government's timetable. What does that mean? The government is going to drag this out as long as they can. They are going to try every single trick in the book to have this trial start as late as possible. Why? What is the federal agents and prosecutor, what is their goal? To put Diddy in jail. Now, the longer they take to start the trial, the more beneficial to them, because they want him in jail. Whether he's in the jail that he's in now or another jail, they just want him behind bars. So in the case that, let's say he gets found not guilty, let's just say, they want it to be after 2 or 3 years of him being in jail, right? So they don't want this to happen quickly in case they lose. They want him behind bars. They want him off the streets because they look like they won if he's behind bars. Here's another reason why they want to keep him behind bars as long as possible. Because it's going to weigh on him. The quicker that he has a trial, the easier it is for him. But the longer that he's in there, it breaks your confidence. It breaks your morale. Christmas is coming up, man. Diddy has 6 kids, huh? I sent my kids for Christmas. You know Diddy loves a New Year's Eve party. Wow, look where I am on New Year's, in a cell, by myself. You know what I mean? Like the events, birthdays. So after a year, and then you get frustrated, that's when now the prosecution and the feds could walk in and be like, yo, bro, we can keep on delaying this for another 2 years, 3 years. We can keep playing these games. You want to cut a deal with us? You want to give up politicians? You want to give up other celebrity names? Like, the longer that he stays in jail, the worse off it is for him, and the better it is for the prosecution. Diddy could possibly stay in jail for years awaiting trial. Years. And that is a huge win for the prosecution and the feds. Like I said yesterday, when these kind of things happen, it's not only about the end result, it's about all the wars that are in the middle. And in this whole battle, the federal agents and the prosecution has won the first war. Diddy is already fighting with holes in his ship. You know what I'm saying? Like, his ship is not sinking, but he has a big hole in it already. You gotta fight this trial behind bars. All right, so that was the first thing. Diddy denied bail by the judge who is presiding over his case. Huge. All right, I'm gonna talk to you guys now about some of the reasons why the judge said no, that he can't come out. He said, I heard from the parties, I find that the government has proven the defendant is a danger. Regarding the bail package, it's insignificant, even on the risk of flight. Okay, I read that to you earlier. Then, this is Diddy's lawyer. He says he was an actual altar boy. The judge says, how far back are we going? He says he watches sermons every day. He has done a great deal to earn the court's trust. I ask you to please release him. Of course, the judge says no. Diddy's lawyer returns back and says, I have brought to you today the head of SAG agency. We are proposing that SAG agency personnel and monitor Diddy. So what that means is, okay, we have a law, not a law enforcement, but we have a security agency that we are going to pay to monitor Diddy for you. He's going to stay in his house, and we're going to actually hire supervision for you that will report to you what Diddy is doing. Still denied that. So now when his lawyer was done with that, the prosecution came out and it was their chance, and these are some of the things that they said. They said, immediately after Diddy assaulted Cassie, he sent her a text message saying, "Call me, the cops are here. I got 6 kids. Yo, call me, I'm surrounded." The prosecution also reminded the judge that they seized 6 guns. They were at the defendant's home and he had access to them. We are focused on the defendant's guns in the defendant's closet. Okay? So those were some of the things. Text messages, harassing people, and he has guns. Now, Diddy's lawyer was like, okay, that's fine, but here's what I propose to you, okay? Home detention with a GPS monitor tracking system. So not only are we going to hire security to watch over him and police him at his own house, we're going to wear an ankle monitor. They also proposed to restrict all visitors to Mr. Combs' residence, meaning nobody is allowed to come over. I actually talked about that in a couple of more segments down. We're going to get in more detail, but he's like, nobody else will come over to my house except for my family, carekeepers. Then he also says, I want to restrict all females. No females will come over to my house while we await for trial. Then he also says, I'll hire a security company, which I told you about that. He'll have no contact with the grand jury witnesses. He'll have weekly testing for drugs and all other standard conditions of pretrial supervision. All of that Diddy offered up, plus the $50,000 package, the $50 million package that I told you about yesterday. The judge said, nah, brah, you're staying in jail. A huge loss for Diddy, huge. All right, now let's jump to the text messages. I just read you one that the prosecution revealed. There was more, okay? So Assistant USA reveals content of the text messages between Diddy and Cassie after their assault in 2016. So I read this one already. Call me, the cops are here. I got 6 kids. Yo, they got me surrounded. Call me. She referred to the incident involving Cassie, which led to the violent encounter seen on CNN. The defendant had a freak off on March the 5th, 2016. We have evidence that there was one commercial sex worker in the room during the assault. She isn't even wearing shoes. She's in danger, and the defendant storms in with a towel. This is what they're getting from their text messages, okay? The prosecution also says, we have messages from the victim, and they say things like, I still have crazy bruising. He claims he wants to get his clothes back, but that's not what's happening here. She's trying to escape the room with the defendant, and the commercial sex worker is in there, and she is trying to flee without her shoes. They go on to say the defendant, Diddy, knew what he had done, and he knew that could elicit a police response. Okay, so that is part of the text messages. They're not really what's actually writing. They're just giving us what's going on. Hey, there's a girl in here. She's trying to escape. We don't want to let this girl escape. Don't let him back in the room. These are all things that the judge is hearing, and this is part of the reasons why he is saying that he doesn't want to let Diddy out, is that if this is what you're doing right after you're hitting your girlfriend, what else would you be doing if you're out on bail? If you're out on bail, are you going to go back after her? Are you going to be violent to her? Are you going to be violent to the other sex workers that are in the case? The judge is saying that he doesn't trust Diddy outside because of the video that CNN leaked and the text messages going on between Cassie and Diddy. They're not remorseful. They're not, he's not being apologetic. He's being even more forceful with her and, texting her because he knows that the police could be coming around, all right? So that was the text messages that the lawyers used. Now, let's move on to what his attorney said after that to rebuttal the text messages and him being a danger. He's trying to show that Diddy and Cassie were both in a toxic relationship and they were also violent with each other. Before I read that, it's really important to note, a lot of people don't know this. in the 14-page indictment, the only victim that is in this case is Cassie. There's 49 other witnesses, but the only victim of all the charges that he's listed, there's only one victim, and that is Cassie. Now, if you look at all the other civil lawsuits, there's a bunch of other people claiming they're victims, but for some reason, the FBI and the prosecution in this indictment, in these charges that he's being charged with, the only victim in this case is Cassie. That's why, just what I talked about before, they're only using text messages between him and Cassie. And this is why now Diddy's lawyer is going to explain and break down to the judge about the relationship. Listen to this, okay? So Cassie and Diddy's relationship is discussed during arraignment. Diddy's lawyer says his toxic relationship was mutual. He said, Mr. Combs is not a perfect person. These toxic relationships were mutual. If there's one thing we've seen, we should stand with people who are trying to get the help they need. He goes on to say, these two people were in love. Victim one, who's Cassie, ended up marrying the trainer that Mr. Combs got and hired for her. They have been cheating on each other for years, but now she has 2 kids with that trainer. Years later, she realized she had a good thing with Mr. Combs. Okay, so what is he doing there? He's establishing that, you know what, my client's not perfect. Yeah, he did stuff. We definitely know you saw him in the elevator. You saw him outside the elevator hitting her, but they had a toxic relationship. He's punting in the judge's head. Listen, my client got the victim, a trainer. She was cheating on him with the trainer. Yeah, you know how it feels to be cheated? People get violent sometimes. People get stupid. Okay, fine, but that doesn't mean that he's a drug kingpin, right? That's what he's trying to establish. He's trying to say that Cassie did things to him. And later on, I think too, I will read to where they said once that Cassie also hit Diddy in the back of the head with the phone. He's trying to establish that they're both verbally assaulted with each other, okay? Then he goes on to show that she's just after money. He went on to say, years later, she has her lawyers call his lawyers and say, hey, I'm writing a book, but if you want to buy the rights, you can have those rights for $30 million. We have the recorded conversation. It did not go over well with her lawyers in November the 23rd, and then she continued to sue. Okay, so establishing, hey, this victim was ready to sell the rights and do everything for $30 million. If you guys remember the civil lawsuit with Cassie, $30 million. Diddy, I don't know what happened in the beginning before it went public, why he didn't try to settle with her, but I guess he figured, hey, it's been 8 or 9 years, she hasn't come out, maybe she's not serious, maybe I could threaten her. Well, I don't know what made Cassie came out. She came out, he settled 24 hours later, but now everything has spiraled out of control. Trust me, I'm sure he wishes he would have bought the rights. However, his lawyer is trying to establish, this victim was ready to keep her mouth shut for $30 million. So how much of a victim is she really? I'm not giving my opinion here, I'm just showing you what his lawyer is trying to do, okay? Now, here is the part where I was telling you about his lawyer saying that how she was abusive to him as well. Diddy's lawyer alleges Cassie hit him in the head with a cell phone after finding out that he had more than one girlfriend, okay? He said 2 people were in a hotel room, an issue that Mr. Combs had more than one girlfriend. Victim 1 was looking through his phone and saw that he was indeed talking to another girl, then hit him in the head with the cell phone and took his clothes. So that's why he's running out with a towel. Now, we don't know, because all we see on the video that CNN leaked a couple of months ago is Diddy running out the hotel room in a towel, grabbing and pulling Cassie down. His lawyer is trying to take the rhetoric out of that and say, hey, you guys don't know what happened inside the hotel room. What happened is that Diddy, she caught Diddy talking with another girl. She threw the phone at him, took all his clothes and ran out. That's why you see my client running out without a towel. My client is the victim. He was hit in the head with a cell phone. That's why he ran out in the towel, grabbed her at the front of the elevator, grabbed her down and was kicking her and dragged her back in the room. Your client that you're claiming is a victim is really abusive to my client as well. So that is what he is talking about. All of that went on. Regardless, the judge was like, hey, I hear both sides. You're still staying in jail, Diddy. You got guns. You got 1,000 bottles of baby oil. You're texting people. You're harassing people. you're staying in jail, bro. All right. So that's the whole process of Diddy getting a second chance to get bail and then being denied, and why. Okay. Now that that is out the way, let's talk about one story that's out there about Diddy seeking treatment and therapy while he is in jail. All right. So Diddy's attorney reveals that the rap mogul is under treatment and therapy amid his legal problems. There is a lot to unpack regarding Sean Diddy Combs and his recent legal struggles, particularly following his arrest and unsealed indictment that brought into light 3 serious federal charges: racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, coercion, and transportation of prostitution. Okay, during the arraignment hearing September the 7th, Diddy's attorney revealed that the music mogul is currently receiving treatment and therapy amid his legal woes and prison stay. While details about the specific nature of this treatment were not disclosed, Diddy's lawyers noted that he is addressing issues that he respectfully needs help with.